but you suspect that he might need the experience, and again, he's not the most substantial at the moment.
Behind him, there's a bit of gap to him, but the one following round is number 5 Glacier for Richard Hannon and Sean Levy.
One of 2 Richard Hannon runners in this race. I thought they were 2 of the better ones in the paddock, though I preferred the stable companion who we'll see shortly, son of Canford Cliffs, and you would think that he'll stay further in time.
OK, back round to the left-hand side, and the second of the horses that we're going to encounter, the horse at the head of that trio of colts on the left-hand side, is number 6, and that's Magnificent for Richard Hannon. He's a son of Zebedee.
Yeah, I liked him most of the horses in the paddock here, but he's got a rather odd pedigree. And he sort of pedigree of contrasts, and he was very noisy in the pre-parade ring even. So whether he'll be clued up enough first time out, but certainly interested to see how he goes.
And he's followed by number 4 Expert Eye from Sir Michael Stout.
Yeah, makes appeal on pedigree. Stable had their first 2-year-old runner towards the end of last month. Or even earlier this month, and though she was well found in the market, she was very, very green and beat only one home.
So that is Expert, with Ryan Moore getting on board in the colours of Prince Khalid Abdullah. So you've seen all 9 of them, with number 9 shooting the breeze and on runner.
Yeah, they're coming out then for our second at Newbury with this short-priced favourite, Mutakatif, who shaped really well on his debut. Really very much caught the eye behind Finiston Farm at Haydock, where he travelled really well. 8-13, 92 Expert Eye, Cuban Heel 8-1, 14's Barraquero, Glacier 20s, 20's Magnificent, Petrus 20s, 25's a bit of money for Simon Dowsall. He had a winner last night at Kempton. Corazon Espinado, 25s from 40s, Diva Star 33s. Before we go back to Lydia, Chris has just done a bit of research about Nottingham, and that, because we're going to go there shortly, aren't we, after this? The headwind is quite fierce. Jane Headley's reporting that.
Yeah, there's a quote on the Racing Post website on their live reporter feature. Checked that, and Jane Headley quoted as saying that the ground is drying up all the time. The official description is quickened up, and if the times are going to be slower than standard, it is due to a pretty fierce headwind. So that does appear to be the case at both tracks this afternoon. On the straight tracks, maybe getting cover could be important. Yeah,
we've seen that already, and a very slow time for the first at Newbury, and that must be because of that headwind. They're going to post. Let's go back to Lydia.
Yes, and we're just watching a couple of them go to post. One of them is on the left-hand side. The horse with experience is also the shortest price, 4-7. A strong favourite, Mutakatif, the mounted Jim Crowley, and he was second at Haydock on his racecourse debut, and he shaped with a lot of promise.
He did. The winner won in some style, but he came through from a position off the pace, having shown greenness, and was doing good work at the finish. He's sure to have learnt plenty from that debut, you would think. But I think the point Chris was just making about the wind and the first race here, where the first 2 had some cover, you suspect that the jockeys will start to be aware of that and perhaps be a bit cagey about how this race is run, and it could be that everyone will be trying to look for cover, which could be a recipe for confusion.
Not everyone is going to be able to find it in that scenario.
No, I'm already here. You go somewhere else and find your cover.
At this point, Mutakatif is giving a lead on the way to post to Expert Eye, the son of Acclamation. The dam is a half-sister to Special Duty, no less, so it's a typically lovely Prince Khalid Abdullah pedigree.
It is, and certainly in terms of pedigree, and stable, really. You'd expect Expert Eye to be towards the 4 of the market in a race like this. But as I said, in doing the paddock, the one slight warning note with the yard is that their first 2-year-old of the season was well backed at Kempton on that one's debut and just ran completely cluelessly.
And it's going to post nicely here, Expert Eye, but Mutakatif has been very obliging and given him a lead all the way to the start. And also we've got this railed off area on the way to post at Newbury as well, which helps. Cuban Heel is the next horse in the market at 7-1. As I mentioned when we were looking at him in the paddock, he's a son of Havana Gold, and his dam won as a 2-year-old over 6 furlongs.
His dam was called Tipping Over, which, as some people pointed out on Twitter yesterday, is Cuban Heel is rather a good name for him. But he makes appeal in terms of pedigree and stable as well, and I thought he looked quite tuned up beforehand.
And he's the 7-1 shot. Then Barraquero, who was the first horse we looked at in the pedigree, and he's got quite a precocious and sharp pedigree.
Yeah, by Zebedee, the dam was fairly useful herself, and she was quite well related, so ought to be one of the slightly more speedier ones here. One of 2 for Brian Meehan in the race, and clearly the much more strongly fancied of the 2, it would seem.
Yes, Richard Hannon has got Glacier and Magnificent here. We'll talk about them together. David liked Magnificent in the flesh, but couldn't get his head around the pedigree. Glacier, on the other hand, you would think is a horse that's going to do better as he goes up in trip, 7 furlong, probably more pertinently a mile.
Yeah, I think that is fair to say. I mean, the thing about Magnificent's pedigree is that it's one of contrasts, and
you don't like that, do you?
I'm never. I mean, sometimes you do know what you're likely to get, because say you've got a Cape Cross that's the dam's got lots of stamina, you are likely to get something that will stay. And contrastingly, you can find sires who, or dams even, though you have much smaller samples to judge on, who limit the stamina that they impart to the progeny, whatever the other half of the pedigree provides. It's not a blend, it's a bullet from both sides.
Yes.
One of them might just hit the target and stop the other one doing it. Does that make sense?
It does. So with this one, you've got the sharp Zebedee side of things, and then you've got Barathea Dancer out of Barathea.
Yeah, who was a fair mile-and-a-quarter winner, and you would anticipate that that might bring stamina into the equation. But in terms of physique, in what I think is I thought they were a lesser lot to look at than the ones in the first race, and there was quite a lot of greenness and quite a lot of not quite readiness in looking at them. So I wouldn't be surprised if this turns out a slightly weaker race.
I haven't been quite ready to go off on time either, are they? We're almost 3 minutes past the post time for this. The last 3 we haven't discussed in detail. We did see them in the paddock. Petrus or Petrus, do you have a preference as to how you want to say that?
I think it's probably Petrus, isn't it? But I might need to Google it.
Well, we'll find out. Richard will tell us in a minute. Yes, what did you make of him?
He was green in the pre-parade. I will say that right by the end of the afternoon.
David Cleary, pre-parade ring, take 3.
Pre-parade ring.
Well done.
There we go. He was green there and looked as if he'd benefit from the run.
Well done. And then there's Corazon Esperado, who you thought would come on for the run as well.
Yeah, though there is a little bit of money for him at big prices. Quite expensive, as I said, 120,000 as a yearling, and sort of no case. A half decent pedigree in terms of this race, really.
And then Diva Star, whose dam wasn't raced, but she was related to a horse that stayed well.
Yeah, I would suspect that she will want further later on. I suspect she'll also benefit from the experience.
Money for Cuban Heel. Expert Eye has drifted, and Mutakatif has flirted between 4-7 and 8-13, currently on 4-7, the odds-on favourite. So those are all 9, and they're almost all in. Let's go and join Richard.
Thank you, Lydia. Yep, couple to go, and they are Diva Star and Petrus. Petrus into the outside stall. So Petrus into stall 10 for the Be Wiser Insurance Novice Stakes, and they're just about all set. Final handler moves away, all clear given, and they're off. Slightly awkward from the stalls was Diva Star early on. Mutakatif is amongst those front rank with Corazon Esperado, and it's Corazon Esperado who moves through to lead. In second place is Mutakatif. In third is Expert Eye, already more spaced out than they were in the first division, with Barraquero showing in 4th place. Midfield for Glacier in the blue and white, on the inside of Magnificent in red and green. At this stage, Diva Star's struggling to keep up. Just ahead of that one, we have both Petrus and Cuban Heel, as Corazon Espinado is showing plenty of dash here down towards halfway, already leads by a good 2 to 3 lengths. Mutakatif in turn is a couple of lengths clear of Expert Eye. Barraquero towards the right-hand side, then Glacier and Magnificent. Cuban Heel with Petrus and Diva Star as they make their way past halfway. Corazon Espinado out in the lead, just tending to hang over to this near side running rail. Mutakatif with 2.5 furlongs to go, still in 2nd place. Barraquero shows in 3rd, then in 4th place is Expert Eye. Then making some progress from the rear is Petrus as they make their way now with 1.5 furlongs to go. Corazon Espinado has given up the lead to Barraquero, Mutakatif and Expert Eye, and they're the three that forge on from Petrus. Barraquero on the far side, Mutakatif in the centre, Expert Eye on the near side, and it's Expert Eye who's quickened up well here on the run to the winning line, and Expert Eye is going to make a winning debut. Expert Eye floors Mutakatif. Barraquero was in 3rd. Petrus comes home in 4th place with Diva Star in 5th.
Well, that looked pretty smart from Expert Eye. 6 to 1 he wins in his debut for Ryan Moore and Sir Merkel Stout and beats Mutakatif, who would appear to have run his race to some degree. He's finished 2nd again, and he brought a good standard of form into the race. In 3rd it was Barraquero. Those three have come well clear of the rest of the field. Now, Harry Bentley drew the short straw on Corazon Espinado and was sent out in front, and all the others tried to hide in the line behind him.
Yeah, and the two that got in the line directly behind him were the runner-up and the winner. And the winner's been pulled out with 1.5 furlongs to go, and he's quickened up nicely. Knew enough first time out. Certainly shaped much better than Sir Michael Stout's first 2-year-old runner of the season. I thought he did well. The turn of foot he showed, passed a horse with experience. The two of them are going away at the finish. The third shaped well, but a lot to like about the winner.
Very much so. A very likeable winning debut for Expert Eye. Nicely done for Ryan Moore and Sir Michael Stout.
Yeah, very likeable performance from that. Sir Michael's come on for a run. More often than not, so to win on debut is a good effort. Expert Eye taking that 2 o'clock at Newbury. Let's go to Nottingham for the 2:10 contest. It's a Class 5 couple of non-runners here, hosted non-runners on the day, just 2 in this race, 1 and 6, 14 running here. It's a maiden over 1.5 miles a furlong, and Al-Wahash is 7 to 4. Al-Khazazar is 3 to 1, along with Arabic Culture. Kataf 9 to 1. Miramar 16s. Sakut 25s. Wooty Hoot is 25s as well. Pioneer Town 50s. Swaff and Bolback 50s. Same price for Sanguine, 150 to 1. Bar those. So Al-Wahash has been quite well supported now at the head of affairs. So William Haggis and Martin Harley. I wasn't sure about this being a particularly hot maiden, looking at what those that have run before have done. Chris, what did you think?
Yeah, I think that's probably a fair comment, and I think it's backed up by the fact that we've got a 76 rated horse as a strong in the market favourite at a relatively short price, haven't we? In Al-Wash, who ran really well at Yarmouth on his return to action, beating Hakeem, who was actually beaten the other day back at Yarmouth. Then went to Wetherby, Upton trip, beaten as an odds-on favourite, perhaps not getting home on that occasion, and drops back in distance this afternoon with the cheap pieces on for the first time. Inside draw in stall 1, top stable going well, and plenty to like about the horse, but that mark of 76 doesn't look like one that you would be saying if he ran in a handicap that he had loads and loads in hand off. So
definitely not. No,
it's not a particularly high standard, is it?
It's not, and I thought this could go to a newcomer, and I was sort of looking at the market, and your eye in that respect is drawn to Arab